All children are born artists. The problem is to remain an artist as we grow up. And the school in the 30s wrote to her parents and said, "We think Gillian has a learning disorder. She couldn't concentrate, she was fidgeting." I think now they'd say she had ADHD. You know, Mrs. Lynn, Gillian isn't sick, she's a dancer. Take her to a dance school. I can't tell you how wonderful it was. We walked in this room and it was full of people like me. People who couldn't sit still. People who had to move to think. She became a soloist, she had a wonderful career at the Royal Ballet. She eventually graduated from the Royal Ballet School, found her own company, the Gillian Dance Company, met Andrew Lloyd Webber. She's been responsible for some of the most successful musical theatre productions in history. She's given pleasure to millions, and she's a multi-millionaire. Somebody else might have put her on medication and told her to calm down. Because you don't think of Shakespeare being a child, do you? Shakespeare being 7. I never thought of it. I mean, he was 7 at some point. He was in somebody's English class, wasn't he? Do you understand? How annoying would that be? You know? Really? Must try harder. Being sent to bed by his dad, to Shakespeare. Go to bed now, you know, to William Shakespeare, you know, and put the pencil down, you know, and stop speaking like that. You know, it's confusing everybody. I have a big interest in education, and I think we all do. We have a huge vested interest in it, partly because it's education that's meant to take us into this future that we can't grasp. The problem is they're trying to meet the future by doing what they did in the past. And on the way, they're alienating millions of kids who don't see any purpose in going to school. The current system of education was designed and conceived and structured for a different age, driven by an economic imperative of the time, but running right through it was an intellectual model of the mind, which was essentially the Enlightenment view of intelligence. That real intelligence consists in the capacity for a certain type of deductive reasoning and a knowledge of the classics originally, what we come to think of as academic ability. And this is deep in the gene pool of public education, that there are really 2 types of people, academic and non-academic, smart people and non-smart people. Our education system is predicated on the idea of academic ability. So the hierarchy is rooted on 2 ideas. Number 1, that the most useful subjects for work are at the top. And the second is academic ability, which has really come to dominate our view of intelligence because the universities designed the system in their image. So you were probably steered benignly away from things at school when you were a kid, things you liked, on the grounds you would never get a job doing that. And the consequence of that is that many brilliant people think they're not, because they've been judged against this particular view of the mind. And my contention is all kids have tremendous talents, and we squander them pretty ruthlessly. We have to get over this old conception of academic, non-academic, abstract, theoretical, vocational. No idea what's going to happen in terms of the future. No idea how this may play out. And yet we're meant to be educated for it. We need to radically rethink our view of intelligence. We've all agreed, nonetheless, on the really extraordinary capacities that children have. We should be waking them up to what they have inside of themselves and seeing our children for the hope that they are. And our task is to educate their whole being so they can face this future. By the way, we may not see this future, but they will. And our job is to help them make something of it.